You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast. Starring Pete Ruggieri, Larry Maris, and Jason Lewis. This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. So sit back and enjoy some Masonic conversation without pretension. And now, here's your hosts, Pete, Larry, and Jason.
And welcome, everybody. We're at episode 33. That means we got past the Royal Sublime Secret, and we're here.
We're Illuminati now.
It's the only way any of us in this room will ever get a 33rd. Just a 33rd episode. So
let's check that box.
Yep. Done. So welcome. I guess we'll go around the room. We'll talk about what we've done as usual. Luckily we just recorded a guest. So you're going to hear an actual show this week. We're not just going to make crap up. We're actually going to have a real interview and you're going to like it. But
or else.
So we'll start with Jason. Jason, what have you been doing the past week since we've seen you last?
I think that things are finally calming down. I was at the Pennsylvania Council of Deliberation on Saturday, which was 2 days ago. And it will be 9 days ago once you guys hear this. But the Pennsylvania Council of Deliberation is the state level Scottish Rite annual meeting. And that's where they deliberate on, oddly enough, things like 33rds and MSAs and all the awards and conduct their stately business.
My name didn't come up, right?
I'm not privy to those conversations. You know, I got to tell you, though, it was a great event because all the grand officers come and a lot of the council of deliberation actives and deputies and high muckety mucks are all past grand officers or grand line officers. And it was nice to see those guys in an environment that was, a little bit different. And the Grand Sovereign Commander, John William McNaughton, came down. It was nice to see him. Sturgeon's a great speaker, ran a great meeting. It was a lot of fun.
Jason's beginning to operate on a completely different plane than we are. You know
you
that?
get that rarefied air thing.
Council of Deliberation, Grand Masters, friends with the Grand Master.
He's going to start tying his shoes soon.
I spoke to 0 Grand Masters. That's well, I
should have got R.C. McCorvey up there doing that. Brother on the street.
A couple passed, but we have past Grand Masters in our neck of the woods, so they're very humble.
Is that it? Is that it for you, Masonically?
Are you done?
Are you done? Are you done? You're done.
Yeah.
I would turn your microphone off, but you have the controls.
Yep.
Larry, you haven't done anything.
No, not really. Other than
went to breakfast.
Got breakfast, goose and gridiron. I bring that up every time we talk. Still have a great attendance. Still good fellowship, but nothing else going on.
Well, it's because we're called off for the summer.
We are called off for the summer.
You have anything else going on?
We ripped the lights down out of the basement. We started that project, so all's good.
We need pictures for the website.
Full steam ahead.
And
I was going to do a time lapse, like every Monday at the same time. Every Monday, take a picture of the basement and see how.
And here's a thought: when you have the grand opening, there should be a celebration, and we should do the show there.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be awesome.
All right.
That would be awesome.
It's an effort.
That's okay.
Okay.
The roads don't go there.
It's 13 miles away.
There's a wall in Brownstown.
It's 13 miles away from Lancaster. It's so hard to get there.
The president built a wall in Brownstown.
Jack will get you there. He'll come over here and have cocktails first, and then we'll drive up there.
Take him out?
In an ambulance.
Yeah, so I don't think I had anything Masonically going on, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You need a break sometimes.
As much as I love Freemasonry, and if you think I'm a bad person now, I was a really bad person before Freemasonry. I mean, it's really helped. So, but yeah, it's just really nice not to I thought we had a executive board meeting for Tall Cedars, and nope, not till August. So, or September, not till September. So it's great. The only weird little bit of Masonic thing, I got a letter from the Royal Order of Scotland, and they did invite me down to the. If they did send me a correct address, I don't know.
Nice.
The check cleared, and they sent me an address in Alberta, Canada. So that's Washington, D.C.
Is it a Nigerian prince needs a check for $250?
So that's it.
Oh, tell us about your trip to Goshen, Indiana.
I'm pretty sure my wife doesn't listen to this. It was awful.
Cricket noises.
It was just as much as I make fun of Ohio, I wish I could have gotten a flat tire in Ohio and stayed there. My wife's people are nice. They all love each other, and they can actually talk to each other for 4 days without killing each other. Like my Italian family, if we're together for an hour, we're dropping F-bombs.
Sleeping with the fishes.
Yeah. So on the way out, I ate some popcorn. And next morning, woke up with an abscessed tooth.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because of the chemo drugs I'm on, I have like a wacky immune system. So a little sliver of popcorn got down between my whatever gum. Yeah, so that was fun. Until I got some drugs over on a holiday weekend. But we're all better now.
Did you have to see a dentist while you're out there?
No,
You go to the barber. That's it's right thing they've got there.
There was a gunslinger playing cards. They called him Doc, and yeah. So no, I just called my dentist. He's an old timey dentist. He's retired. He lives down in Willow Valley. And I said, "Hey Doc, can you just call in a prescription for antibiotics to CVS?" And he did. So.
Nice.
We won't mention his name.
It was interesting watching from the day he got there to the day he left, the progression of posts on Facebook and how each day it deteriorated to the final day when the F-bombs were coming out and he was ready to kill. It was absolutely amazing. You could just see the downhill slide.
And it's all me. I mean, they're nice people. It's just, I'm not used to being around quiet, reserved, nice people without internet and TV for 4 days. Well, they do have internet. It's dial-up. So that's about it. We're going to take a quick break.
What about Jack?
Oh, yeah. Jack, we did Jack.
I'm not paying
He just didn't
attention.
really have anything to say. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with our interview of brother Nick. What's Nick's last name again?
Nick Laine.
Yeah, Nick Laine, of the Worshipful Master of the Virtual Lodge, number, Jason?
190.
What is this, a quiz?
190, Castle Island, Manitoba, Canada.
All right, so we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back for a wonderful interview.
Nobody told me there'd be a quiz.
This episode of Masonic Life Podcast is sponsored by the Commodore Perry Service Plaza. Located on the scenic Ohio Turnpike, rated by Condé Nast Travel as the crown jewel of the Buckeye State. The Commodore Perry Service Plaza features renovated restrooms with those fancy high-efficiency hand dryers. So next time you're passing through Ohio to get somewhere else, stop on by.
And we're back. So in just a few minutes, we're going to hear from Nick Laine, the Worshipful Master of Castle Island Virtual Lodge. Larry, tell us about Nick Laine.
Yeah, Nick is the Worshipful Master of the world's first virtual lodge. The world's first. Bear that in mind.
Is that a true fact?
I'm not sure. He's the first one in Manitoba.
First one. No, first in the world.
Fake news.
First one in the world. At Castle Island Lodge 190, located in Manitoba, Canada. If you look on a map,
How can they be Lodge 190?
Manitoba is really
If they're the first.
way up there.
Well, they had it. They're a real chartered lodge.
I know, I'm just being an ass.
You've heard of Hudson Bay? They're there. I mean, it's incredible. Anyway, it's Canada. He's also past master of a lodge in Ontario. So, I mean, he lives like 9,000 miles away from Manitoba, which, has me scratching my head. How do they get back and forth to this? Oh, I forgot it's virtual. But anyway, he's our guest.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, it's Pete, Jason,
Jim.
Larry, and
What's his
Jack.
name? Jack. Just Jack.
Welcome to Masonic Light Podcast. Our special guest this evening is Nick Laine, Worshipful Master of the world's first virtual lodge, Castle Island Lodge 190 in Manitoba, Canada. Nick, tried to research you and find out all kinds of things about you on the internet, and there's not a whole lot I could work with, so I'm going to start off by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, brethren, first off, thank you very much for the invite to attend the podcast today. My name is Nicholas Laine. I hail from Burlington, Ontario, Canada. I belong to two lodges. My bricks and mortar lodge is Burlington number 165 of the Grand Lodge of Canada in the province of Ontario. I'm the immediate past master there. And then I also sit, as you said, the Worshipful Master of Castle Island Virtual Lodge out of the Grand Lodge of Manitoba, the next province or jurisdiction to its right. Been a member of Castle Island for 3 years. Started off as the Lodge Education Officer, then from Junior Warden, and then this year to the Worshipful Master. As you said, there's not a lot about us. Well, there is, but there isn't. Depends where you look.
Is it because it's really a secret?
Yeah, it's not that much of a secret, brethren. We were started about 6 years ago under the auspices of the Grand Lodge of Manitoba in Canada. People often ask, how does that work? Well, it's quite simple. You find 6 past Grand Masters and one sitting Grand Master, and you say, hey, I think we want to make a virtual lodge. And that's what we did.
Now,
that gives you the quick history.
Okay, that's one of the things I did notice. You don't live in Manitoba province. You live in Ontario province, which is like half a continent away, and I'm exaggerating.
It's at least one time zone.
Yeah, at least one time zone.
That's correct.
How
one time?
Go ahead.
No, I'm one time zone away. You're saying, how did I get there? Is that your question?
how did you get involved in that? I mean, I know it's virtual, so you don't have to travel there necessarily.
So one of the founding members is Right Worshipful Brother Jake Mowens. Jake Mowens was a member of my mother lodge. So I actually started off in the Grand Lodge of Manitoba in a city called Thompson, Manitoba, which is 500 miles north of Winnipeg, Manitoba, which was where most of the constituents hail from. So, in fact, most of the Grand Masters that I sit with today, I've actually met and sat in lodge with them because we were in the Grand Masters district in Manitoba. So, how did it come apart? Well, as I was a member of Burlington Lodge, I still kept in touch with my good friend, Worship Brother Jake, and eventually Jake told me about Castle Island Virtual Lodge, and then I visited for a while, and then, as I said, then started to actively be a member. So it's a long story, but it comes together by still being active with some of the brethren in Manitoba. It's the short side of that.
So what does the education officer do in a virtual lodge?
Well, in the Grand Lodge of Manitoba, it doesn't matter if you're a virtual lodge or a bricks and mortar lodge, the Lodge Education Officer, or the LEO, is the individual that's in charge of making sure that education and Masonic rituals and processes are being followed to assist the brethren in the day-to-day working of the lodge. So in our case, obviously, the Lodge Education Officer right now puts together all of the papers and any of the history that we're going to be doing, and then actively does a presentation. So that's what I did for the first couple of years. And then as the sitting master, I actually do most of that same work. In a virtual lodge, it really makes it easier if you understand technology and WebEx and all of those cool and groovy things that the younger Mason would be looking forward to do.
Well, by the use of the word groovy, we're assuming you're not in that group of younger Masons then.
Yeah, no, I've just had my 25th year of Masonry, so No, I'm not all that young anymore.
Nice.
I'm glad you're utilizing the 2003 technology of WebEx.
Cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, it's cutting edge and stuff. Yeah. So that's generally the processes we use within the Lodge Education Officer. Like I said, it's his job to really just make sure that Masonic education and research is being completed and conducted in Lodge.
I feel a little bit remiss, Nick, because basically we really haven't introduced ourselves to you. We're going in here, I feel, improperly. I'm Larry Maris. I'm one of the hosts of the show. And sitting beside of me is Pete Ruggieri. Say hello, Pete.
Hey there, Nick.
And Jack Harley, our news director's here. He was asking you questions earlier.
Yeah.
And Jason, I'm here too.
Yeah, Jason's here.
And Pete, my real job here is just to keep Larry on track. Usually Larry will ask you a question and talk for 20 minutes and not let the guest speak. So I'm here to try and reel him in.
That's okay. I'll just talk over Larry.
Oh, please, yes, you've got the hang of it already.
Hey!
I've listened to your podcast enough. Yeah.
Jason, we're up to 6 listeners.
Yes.
Jason had you actually attended a virtual lodge meeting, you and Scott Hoover from the Lancaster area. You want to talk to him about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We sat in, I think, two meetings ago.
2 meetings ago, yes. You
Yeah.
didn't make the last one.
I did not make the. Well,
Oh, they're keeping track, Jason.
I
You
know.
see that?
It's, let me tell you about that commute.
Nice.
And now I had another commitment, unfortunately. But yeah, I joined the WebEx with Scott next to me in the comfort of my own home. And Jack Aquilina was the guest speaker, so I can officially say that I've sat in lodge with Jack. And I believe that your district deputy, not your geographical local district deputy,
Yes.
but the district deputy for the virtual lodge attended that meeting as well, and he seemed, at least in the middle of the meeting, he seemed pleased. It was great. I think that the meeting I attended, we had Malaysia, Australia, obviously. We had a handful of people in the States, including a brother from Pennsylvania that we didn't know about, who wasn't too far from us. And you probably know better than I do, but there was a number of different countries represented.
Yeah.
And I believe that we also had a gentleman serving in one of the branches of the U.S. military, which I think is probably the best plug or the best elevator pitch about virtual lodge is that you can attend lodge anywhere. And this gentleman was using his iPhone and his earbuds and was sitting in whatever sort of rec room of his military base. At least that's what it looked like. And was in lodge. It was great. Open and entered apprentice, and it was probably one of the best meetings that I've been to.
So, Nick, this is Pete. I was not part of that, and I'm just a blank slate here. So what would I expect with a virtual lodge? What's going to go on if I log on and I'm there to listen and watch?
So the first thing you have to understand is it's a process that's been underway for 2.5 years. First thing you do to sit in the lodge is you have to prove to myself or my team that you are an active member within a lodge. You have to prove your 2017 dues card. We then look you up to make sure you're in good standing with the Grand Lodge of Manitoba. Once that's all happened, we'll send you an invite using WebEx. You'll come in, and what do you expect to see? Well, you'll expect to see 15 guys probably all saying, "Can you hear me?" for the first 2 minutes. That's different than what you guys do on your podcast. Once we get past that, "Can you hear me?" and do we have that? Depending on what the demographics are, we probably get about I'm going to call it 20 to 30% new person every time we have a meeting coming out to us. So it's a little bit of getting to know everybody. What we try to do is we open up the meeting. So because you can't actually stand in a virtual lodge today, we use the Manitoba Works, so we're going to use the opening. We open the lodge. At any point in time, kind of like yours, you might hear my dog in the background.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. We'll open up lodge. The master and the wardens we'll then go through the general opening that you would see using the emulation work out of Manitoba. As I said, we dispense with the knocks. We open up the volume of the sacred law. We'll show the Constitution and our bylaws. And then from there, we start with the regular business of law.
So you spend the next 30 minutes reading the minutes from the previous meeting? Is that?
No, we don't do any of the minutes.
I'm joining.
Yeah, we take about from the time of opening to the time of the education. The longest period of time is welcoming all the brethren from around the world, and we generally do that right at the beginning of the meeting. Today we have a general WebEx that accepts 24 people. If we need to, we can bump it up a couple. We've had people, I think, Jason, at your meeting, there were 34 members, 6 different countries, 3 different times, 4 different time zones. And, and then, like I said, well, that was last meeting. So back to what your question was. I was doing a Larry there. I went left. We do all the introduction, and then from there, we'll get right into the presentation. We've done a mixture over the last year of both PowerPoint presentations, so depending on the lodge, the last 4 meetings before you guys were attending, we were actually going through and giving the different jurisdictional differences between the lodges. Within, we had a presentation on the Grand Lodge of Italy, because my junior steward is actually in Rome.
In one of the 9 Grand Lodges of Italy?
Yeah, one of them. He's in the one that we accept. He's been a member of our lodge for 2 years, Brother Carmelo. And then from Grand Lodge of Italy, we went to Worshipful Brother Blake Miles Leach, and he did a presentation on Queensland. From there, we then had a presentation done by our junior deacon, who's Roger Veal out of Arizona. So we had those. So those are kind of things we've done, and then obviously we've done some open level discussions. And then the last meeting we had 2 meetings ago that Jason attended, we had Brother Jack from Australia attend. So when I was in Australia, I was there on business. I met Jack and did some meetings with him, as well as attended his Masonic Life podcast. So then Jack gave us an idea of what the Blue Line Social Club is. So we talked about how do you take a grassroots organization like the Blue Line Social Club, and how do you bring it across both from Australia? We have one in our jurisdiction, strangely enough, how that could happen. I think. And then from there, the last meeting we actually had 4 Master Masons around the world on, talking about what was it like for them to become Master Masons last year in the jurisdictions. So we had 2 Canadians, what I classify as a city mouse and a country mouse, with a gentleman in Alberta, and then we had in rural Alberta. So that's 3 provinces away from mine, or 2 from Manitoba. So he was probably, in your version of the world, just above Montana. Then one of the gentlemen from Ontario, and then another gentleman, Joey Boyer from Arizona, and then David Illinsworth,
Australia,
co-host of the Brought to Light Master Masonic podcast, who just Mason in June from the Grand Lodge of Victoria. We just tried to kind of get a sampling of what it's like to be there, and then we're starting to just plan out our August meeting.
So
that gives you a better idea of what we can do.
I have a question for you that we're probably all burning to know the answer. You had the pleasure of meeting Jack Aquilina in the flesh, and we don't use metric here, but we need to know
how tall is he.
We need to know how tall is Jack Aquilina.
I'm 6'1", but Jack would be about 5'5". I think Jack's mom's taller than Jack.
How much is that in cubits?
There are kangaroos there that are bigger than Jack.
But yeah,
there are kangaroos bigger than Jack. That would be correct.
But Jack makes fun of our weight in stone. Like all these measurements that we don't use in America.
Yeah, we're wider than he is tall. So
We're measuring boulders.
Yeah, Jack's a funny man. Yes, I would agree.
Now, Nick, are you past master in a traditional lodge?
Yes.
Did we ever talk about
sitting master, right?
Yeah, I'm the IPM. I'm the immediate past master
Okay.
of Livingston Lodge 65. So what you didn't ask is how I'm the master of.
Oh, we're losing you a little bit.
Okay, can you still hear me?
Yeah, a little bit.
No?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yep.
So the way you become you have to be a sitting master to become take the chair of, you have to be out sitting or past master of a bricks and mortar lodge to become the master of Castle Island Virtual Lodge. So my Castle Island Virtual Lodge waited for me to become master of my bricks and mortar lodge, and then when I was made the master, then magically I was then put into the chair of King Solomon in Castle Island Lodge as well.
Nice.
Hey, Larry here, Nick. I've got to ask you a question, because one of the things that I truly believe in, it's part of me, if I can't laugh at least 10 times during a meeting, I don't call it a successful meeting. That's my personal thing. Right. Do you guys have fun? Can you laugh? Do you tell us something? This has been serious so far. I want to hear something a little more humorous.
Do you wear pants? I'd be like pants free. Yeah, I mean,
is there a question there?
In lodge.
Yeah. So do we joke in lodge? I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
Do we have a fun time? Yeah. Do we try to still be traditional in some of the things? I would like to say yes. I mean, obviously I have, 5 past grandmasters sitting in lodge with me, so they're pretty
Pressure's on, yeah.
senior gentlemen. So yeah. Is there time for friendship and fraternity? Sure there is. And in fact, that's probably the biggest thing that I like about this lodge is that, we're learning a lot about ourselves as we, make our journey. We talk about a lot of different topics. And then afterwards, there's always an opportunity to say, hey, brother, where are you from? What's it like where you are? What are you doing? I've been sharing lots of information through, I have a Dropbox as well, which I collect a lot of Masonic information from that I share with the other brethren as well.
Yeah, when the meeting that I attended, I believe you had to leave to go pick up family from the airport, I think. But I know you kept the meeting open, and man, we must have. Well, even Scott Hoover that was with me, he had to get up and go, but we stayed online for. I mean, it had to be another hour and a half, just getting to know each other and socializing.
After he left?
After he left it wide open. We closed the meeting. And
I never would have done that.
Well, we went downstairs and had ice cream virtually.
Virtual pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other guys had another virtual top up in their wine.
Yeah.
We're in Pennsylvania.
So that's the interesting thing is that there's not only are you seeing each other, not only you're talking to them, but there's also a huge amount of chat going on so there's an online chat.
Right.
Where, you're seeing a lot of information. So I'll give you an example. When we had the brother from Scotland on, he was asking questions, and then you see the Southern United States guy or the guy from California get on, and they'd be asking questions. So you could see a lot of, as a moderator, I can see a lot of different conversations also going on. So it's not just that medium that you normally could have, obviously, when you have a one-to-one perspective, but then there's this whole sideline discussion going on, talking about different things as well, which is kind of
we had Facebook Messenger up, and we were talking back and forth with Jack. But I guess it's kind of akin to, the whispers on the sidelines during a traditional meeting.
Yeah.
I'd be like trying to need a translator for like Scottish to Australian to Southern United States.
Yeah, there was somebody on who was really tough to understand, but we got through it.
And it's true, and he was only from Texas. No,
Well, remember, Jack Aquilina went to school in Texas, so you got to watch him sometimes.
yeah, he's got a twang too.
Hey, let me ask you a question. This is Larry here. Where are you? Where are you right now?
I am. I'm on Interstate 180, going towards North Platte, Nebraska.
Okay. And your destination is what? Las Vegas?
No, my destination is Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you opening a virtual lodge in Salt Lake?
No, I'm going to visit my stepfather. I have some family business to attend to there, so my 2 daughters and I are going to Salt Lake City.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Beautiful city.
Yeah.
So, Nick, obviously you travel quite a bit. What do you do by day for your normal occupation?
So I'm a senior infrastructure architect for a Canadian company. So I do IT work. So I work within the data center. So I've been doing that now for almost 15 years.
Nice.
Before that, I was a hydrometallurgist at Thompson, Manitoba, working for a nickel mine. That's how I met Jake,
Huh.
the immediate past master of Castle Mountain Virtual Lodge.
We have a town here in Lancaster called Nickel Mines.
Yeah, it's famous for a bad thing.
Yeah, but
How did you come to Freemasonry? You said it's been what 20, 25 years? How did you
How to
find
get into lodge?
Yeah.
Yeah, so couple reasons. My high school teacher for English, he always had a Masonic ring on, and I liked him. I said, "What was it?" And he told me. I was kind of, that's interesting. When I went to university in Winnipeg, where most of the guys from Castle Island are, I made good friends with a buddy of mine, and his dad was master of Menorah Lodge 122 in the Grand Lodge of Manitoba when we were at university, and he said, so both you guys, when you finish school, get a job, settle down, and join a lodge. So I finished university with a physics degree, left, and then went to work for Inco at the mining town, and then joined the lodge in my hometown.
Did you immediately jump in at that point, or were you a sideliner for a while?
Yeah, I was a sideliner for at least an hour.
You made eye contact, didn't you? There it is.
Can't say that
Dog
anymore.
contact, yeah.
Yeah, we can.
So I went in 1991, and within my first year, I think, after becoming a Master Mason, I was asked to be one of the stewards, and then from a steward, I went to chaplain, and then from chaplain, then there was a break in the line. I went to junior deacon, senior deacon, junior warden, senior warden, and then the price of nickel took a little bit of a plummet. So I then said, no, guys, I'm not sure if I can do this. I need to change. I changed jobs from mining and metallurgy into IT. And then I said, no, I'll go back as junior warden. So I actually didn't make it. I was supposed to be master the first time in 1998. I didn't become master until 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I took some time off.
Looked over the edge and came back. All right.
Yeah. And then joined Eastern Star as well, because my mother-in-law was Eastern Star. So I did that. And then I decided, I might go into the Royal Arch. So then I started Royal Arch.
Nice.
Which was 235 kilometers away, or 5-hour drive. So
Wow.
I joined chapter in northern Manitoba, and I went twice, both on field days to get the finish the Mark Master Mason.
So
and then I didn't do it again for 10 and a half years.
So when's Royal Arch Virtual Lodge going to start?
As soon as I finish this one, I'll start the next one.
So are your kids in the car right now bored to tears?
One of them is.
Okay.
She's reading a book. She's used to that. She's usually the one you see at the back. So if there's a young 60-year-old young lady that decides to walk through the back of the virtual lodge and I say, "Hey, would you please sit downstairs and not bug me?" She's the one who gets like.
Is that like? Do you have an immediate Do you have an immediate blackball button if somebody makes a weird comment about your daughter? You can just zap them and they're gone.
Yeah, no, not yet. I might think of it though.
It's an easy button.
I might not just turn your mic back on.
Yeah.
When I attended a couple months ago, my 6-year-old was apparently outside my office with her ear to the door and her secret notepad.
Yeah.
And my wife took a picture, and of course, all the notes were gibberish, but there certainly was an eavesdropper.
Cowan's an eavesdropper.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the interesting thing, gentlemen, about the virtual lodge. I mean, as you said, we had, I think it was Brother TC, I can't remember TC's last name. I have a list of about 150 people that I've invited and brought in. Some people I remember and some people I don't, but one of the discussions we had was, so what's it like to have to tile your own lodge? And we said, look, guys, because we're not really doing any ritual other than going through the screen and then you hearing me speak through your earbuds, we don't get to, there's been a lot of discussions, do you have to be behind a door? Well, I try to get behind the door, but then as you said, you have a little girl listening on the other side. What's she going to hear except a one-way conversation with you talking through a microphone?
Right.
It's not all that exciting because you can't actually see it or hear it. I'm not suggesting that we don't need to tile. I'm just suggesting that, we have the levity of being able to be pretty open. I've been in meetings with the guys. I was on business one time, and we opened a lodge, and they needed me to be there, so I was walking around our nation's capital on the WebEx, talking and opening as I walked up a hill in Ottawa, Canada. So, it depends where you are and what you can do. You don't have an active role that night.
I think that Freemasonry being in the I don't know the season that Freemasonry is in. I've often said that variety, I think, is going to be one of the things that save us as a fraternity. And that a week after attending your lodge, I attended a traditional observance, and they were 180 degrees of each other, except for a huge overlap that was the actual fellowship. But I think it's great. Some of the guys that were on the meeting that I was on, I mean, some were behind their desk, some were in the comfort of their own home, and other guys were working. I think there was another guy working security. Am I right? Who was just on his iPhone, and it was great being able to. It's nice because we can take Freemasonry to the people as opposed to the people having to come to us with the virtual lodge.
Right.
My big takeaway. It was great.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm trying to figure out right now is platform discussion. So, in fact, our next GP meeting, which I was just answering questions to today, talked about, do we need to have, are we going to continue with WebEx? One of the other brethren owns his own company, and he has a platform called Bio, which is great. It does Windows and Androids, but it doesn't do iPhones and iPads and all the other tablet-type devices. And do we need that? So,
well, WebEx certainly was the lowest common denominator, and it's stable.
Yeah, it is, and it works really well, and that's kind of what I like about it, is that I don't have to worry about it. Because for the first 2.5 years we tried this is WebEx is our fourth platform. We tried Adobe, we tried some Google components, and then finally there was one even before I joined, they tried. This is the one that they decided on.
Did I hear you say there was a limit to the number of people that could be in that meeting?
Only by the general structure that we paid for costing. So we paid for introductory WebEx license, would allow us 24. The last meeting we had, I had our junior warden bump it up to 34. You have to pay another $15, and that makes it up to 100.
So we're going to see a dues increase, is that what you...
Yeah.
No, not right now. What I'm trying to figure out is that's a different. Do you want to talk about per capita? You want to get a grumpy bag grumpy?
There you go. Grumpy past masters.
Yeah, per capita, $75 Grand Lodge member. Sorry, Grand Lodge member.
There you go.
But yeah, so we're just trying to figure out how we can do that and what's the best medium we can cost effective. One of the other guys is in the U.S., so we might get him to say that's where we live because we get a better price from him.
This is Pete. I'm probably the biggest negative person here, and I just think it's really cool. I didn't really understand it when Jason told me he was going to do it. I kind of goofed on him, and I was like, I guess I had no idea, but it actually sounds, especially for Manitoba, where people may be hundreds and hundreds of miles apart. To try and keep people connected.
Yeah, it definitely extends the cable tow. That's it.
Yeah.
Which brings me.
Yeah.
Nick,
Larry, you're going to ask a question, or can I tell you something?
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
So there's a couple states that are very interested. In Nebraska, which I happen to be going through right now, the past Grand Master of Nebraska is very interested in opening a virtual lodge for the same reason. The Grand Lodge of Colorado, so Brother Jeff Beaupre is part of the Grand. He's on Communications or Technology Committee for their Grand Lodge, and we're trying to visit there as well. After we had a meeting with Brother Jack Aquilina on it, we had the Grand Lodge of Victoria express an interest to open up their virtual lodge. So there are other jurisdictions. In fact, this August, we're going to vote on petitions of affiliation for 5 new members, which will probably put the balance of power now outside of Manitoba, interesting enough, and with more paid members outside of Manitoba than actually being in the Grand Lodge jurisdiction of the province of Manitoba. So that's kind of my hope, is that, that we can continue the expansion globally and not worry about where we sit and what jurisdiction, because as I think you guys can attune to get a Grand Lodge, to get it through first, to then make a constitution, to then get everything made and working as a fully operational lodge. That's a big example. It took a while to do that. Larry, you going to ask a question?
Yeah, I was, Nick. I'm very interested. I see the picture of the castle on an island in this beautiful body of water. Now, Is that a virtual castle, or is that a real castle in Canada?
No, that's a picture that my secretary said that we adopted 4 years ago. I have no idea where it is.
Okay.
Now, do you try to have maybe one meeting a year where people try to show up in person to a regular real lodge meeting?
They have tried it in Manitoba with most of the Manitoba guys. So yes, but it's not the answer is no, because most of us, like I said, half of us are outside of Manitoba. We can't actually do that. Unless we all decided to fly to Winnipeg. I don't like Winnipeg that much. I'm not good at it.
Now, Nick, you guys meet on 5th Wednesdays, whenever those occur, correct?
Yeah, the 5th Wednesday of every month, probably 5 times a year, between 4 and 5 times a year.
So August 30th is the next one.
Yeah, August 30th is our next one.
So seeing as how more than one person can sit behind a computer screen, maybe we can get a widescreen lens, and all 4 of us could.
You're going to need 6 millimeter
fisheye lens. Yeah.
Maybe we can all squeeze together and attend together.
Yeah. We've had that happen. We've had, 6 guys in Colorado in a lodge actually that had Wi-Fi. They all sat together, and they had a really wide angle lens, sat way far back, and I couldn't see anybody, but other than that, it worked great.
So if we get 7, we get the traveling microphone.
We have had a visit with our lodge, with Virtual Island Lodge, visiting a lodge in Arizona. So Brother Roger was it was 2 years ago, so he would have been the junior warden. He wanted us to meet with him, so we met with his lodge as well. So we actually had ourselves set up in his lodge. He had enough wide-angle television screens and microphones and speakers set up. But we attended virtually had a 42-inch screen. So for those of you who did attend, you'll know that we tile at the bottom. In other words, there's little picture spots. So the person who speaks, hopefully it's the person you want to see. Once the microphone and WebEx activates your picture or your voice, your picture then becomes centered on the screen. We've met with Roger in Arizona for our daylight lodge. 9 of us came, plus I think 10 visitors. There was 19 people that virtually visited in Arizona. And then there's a lodge in Manitoba, our senior steward, which is Rico Brad, of Filipino descent. We have Filipino Lodge, Philpan Lodge, that's actually had a meeting with the Filipino Lodge on a similar type of group. So if your lodge is internet capable and you want to meet with us, have more than one people, we can actually want to meet on the same night we do. For another night, we've done that as well in the past.
Well, Nick, I don't have any more questions. Actually, they're not allowing me to have any more questions. I do appreciate you
Larry, I find that so hard to believe. Other questions?
I do appreciate you coming on the show. And are you currently driving, or are you at the hotel now, or what?
No, I'm currently driving behind what looks like a T8 cat and a truck with pipes on it.
Good grief. Good grief. Well, I didn't want to become a danger to your travels, so I do appreciate you coming on the show, really, and it's been great. If people around the world, and apparently we do have a worldwide listening audience, want to be able to contact you, how do they go about wanting to, laugh, that's true, we do. Our number 5 markets in Sweden, for goodness sake. But anyway, if they want to contact you, how do they get a hold of you to attend a meeting?
So what they do is they send myself an email. It's burlingtonlodgewm@gmail.com, and that will come to my inbox. And then once I've got your requested invite or request of meeting, then I will then contact the brother to get a copy of their dues card and away we go. And at the meeting night, and send you, I put you on the list of people who want to attend. Go from there.
Okay, great.
Very cool.
We'll also put that information on our website.
Yes, please. I appreciate that. So, brethren, it's been great having you here. I know, from my perspective to you, I wish you guys all the best. I think it's great that we have podcasters like yourselves meeting on a weekly basis to talk about Freemasonry and how we can help people in their journey. And we can talk about the new mobile brethren. I think that in yourselves and even what we're trying to do at Castle Island gives that new venue to that brother. I think you put it really quite good, which was let's bring masonry to them and not have them have to go to masonry.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the next generation, the virtual lodge, the podcast, people having fellowship but with structure, across borders.
Anarchy with a structure. I like that.
Absolutely. Anarchy, fun, gotta have it. Well, Nick, it was good talking to you. Be safe. Give hugs to your daughters. And thanks for appearing on Masonic Light Podcast. We hope to see you again.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'll look forward to seeing the next meeting in person with nice pictures, and we'll see you hopefully for our August meeting.
Okay.
Make sure you send me an email to remind me if you'd like to attend, and any of those brethren that are listening today on the podcast, please do so, and we'll make sure we get you.
Okay, Nick. Take care now.
Don't text and drive.
Bye.
No, text driving is bad. Talking is driving is bad. All right.
Take
Night.
Hey, we're back. So hopefully Jason was able to tweak the controls on that so you guys could hear that interview. We heard it very well. It's always a mystery for me with the
The technology.
The technology.
It's a good thing you're not Worshipful Master of the Virtual Lodge.
Yeah, I'd be a Worshipful Master. But hey, I
Virtual
learned a lot.
Master.
I learned a lot. I think I told Mr. Laine on the call that like I kind of poo-pooed the idea, but it sounds really cool.
I don't think that Virtual Lodge is a replacement for normal lodge. I think it's a nice alternative and, like I said, variety.
It's almost an appendant body, right? Where you get together with other people from farther away that come together and socialize and get to know each other.
But they're warranted.
Right? No, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big deal for them is that they're on a legit lodge through Grand Lodge of Manitoba, I think he said.
Right.
But I mean, I guess if we wanted to do something, I don't want to do it, but if I'm not volunteering to set this up, but if somebody wanted to set up some sort of a meeting like that, anybody from all over the world, we could do it. But, theirs has some structure because it's legit. He does make sure everybody really is a Mason.
Well, like you said, you start out with 6 past grandmasters, you're going to have a legit organization. I mean, you just have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Larry, you have anything to offer?
Well, other than the fact that I think what we're going to probably do is, if you remember last Christmas, we had a joint Christmas party with the Jack Aquilina and
I remember
and
parts of
Illingham
that.
and the guys in Australia. Yeah, I remember. You do remember parts of it. And I think maybe what we should do is for maybe the upcoming August meeting, if we can, we should all gather around a computer with wide screen so that he can see all of us. And have a little bit of a party at lot. Well, we wouldn't say that, but just show up and.
Only if we all wear fezzes.
I don't think that you can. We can certainly. Well, let's not give
funny
away any
hats
surprises.
not-
Let's not give Pennsylvania a bad
Yeah.
name.
Well, we could certainly.
Again.
We could certainly join their meeting and then halfway through put our fezzes on. That's certainly possible.
Fezzes, tall cedars
fezzes
hats.
on, shirts off.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know about that.
Oh, no.
And we could say toward the end, too, we're all sitting here without pants on. Okay. Oh, anyway.
Alrighty, so we're going to go into...
Well, you need to tell people how to get a hold
how
of
to
us.
get a hold of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We do love hearing from you.
But nobody ever calls us, so please call us.
I don't understand that. Send us an email, MasonicLightPodcast@gmail.com, or you can call us, leave us a message at 315-596-2766. That's 315-59-MASON. And make sure you check out our website at MasonicLight.com. Please, let's hear from you.
Yeah, and if you have the technology, there should be an app on your phone called Voice Recorder. You could just record like 20 seconds, say, hey, this is brother, insert name here, of Lodge so-and-so of so-and-so town. You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast. And just email it to us, and we'll use you going in or out of a commercial break.
Yeah. Speaking of hearing from people, how about some Seth Anthony?
Corpora Obscurum.
Corpora Obscurum. Seth, we need you to record a couple more for us. We're getting low.
All Seth, all the time.
And
All
thanks,
Seth.
thanks, Seth, for giving us a lot of ideas and direction here.
All right, and here's Seth.
You're about to enter
Corpora Obscurum.
the realm of weird fraternal organizations.
Leave your Freemasonry behind.
Prepare to meet druids, caliphs, and wild creatures,
Knock thrice.
and enter at your own risk. Well, hi there, Masonic Light Podcast listeners. Welcome to another edition of Corpora Obscurum. The American Woodmen, not to be confused with the Woodmen of America, is an interesting organization in the history of fraternal groups. Originally started by a group of Caucasian men in 1901, the group was quickly transformed into an African-American fraternal society by the 19-teens. Throughout their history, the American Woodmen have worked hard to support charitable causes, especially within the African-American communities they served. From just $9,000 in 1910, the group managed to amass assets of over $10 million by the late 1960s. In 1966, the organization transitioned, with the fraternal aspect being separated from the Financial Benefit Administration. This created the American Woodmen Stock Company, which worked alongside the American Woodmen. This corporation was purchased in 1972 by Crusaders Life Insurance, wresting control of the insurance group away from the Woodmen. Legal battles ensued as the fraternalists tried to regain control of their assets. The groups reconciled in 1978 and have worked together ever since, operating as a fraternal benefit society restricted to black citizens. Want to know more? You can learn more about historic fraternal groups and the effect they had on America by visiting and supporting the J.H. Rathbone Museum, located in Lafayette, Indiana, and on the web at www.jhrathbonemuseum.org.
Thank you, Seth, for another outstanding episode of Corpora Obscurum, another obscure body that's
Obscure.
And
we'll find out which one, and we'll find out which one it was when we listen to it with you
after Jason cuts it into the meeting. All right, what next?
You.
Me?
News.
And now the news.
Good news, everyone!
Masonic Light News. News not fit to print.
Tragedy struck Orpheus Lodge number 26 in Zeeland, Michigan, when 3 members died of sleep apnea as their stated meeting entered its 3rd hour. The secretary was nearly finished reading the minutes of the last stated meeting when it was noticed that the 3 brothers sat with their heads tilted back, their mouths open, and their eyes glazed in peace. The Grand Master has since issued an edict allowing abbreviated minutes at all future meetings. And that's the Masonic news. So mote it was.
Hey, Masonic Light Podcast. Jason Richards calling from the Masonic Roundtable. Hope you guys are well. Listen to your latest episode. Fantastic stuff. You guys are doing some great things, and big fan over here. So I wanted to let you know that I've got your Lodge in the Woods date on the calendar. I can't make any promises yet, but it's at least on there, and I will do my best to get my butt up there from D.C. So keep doing what you're doing. You guys have at least 1 or 2 friends. I don't know if Jackie from Australia actually counts or not, but he's up and coming. I mean, he's maybe half a fan. We'll give him half a fan. But you guys are doing some great stuff. Love the show. Keep it real.
And so, you guys have anything Masonic coming up?
No, just random stuff. We're putting sound in the building and got a couple petitioners on the line, trying to get some petitions in, and that's about it, really.
Yeah. Larry, you just had breakfast.
Yeah, Goose and Gridiron coming up on Thursday, which I probably won't be at. My other eye's getting operated on for the cataract.
Jack, do you have anything going on?
Just until the end of September, I'm going to have Lodge in the Woods going on. If you are interested, if you're in the 1st Masonic District in Pennsylvania, contact any Worshipful Master in the 1st District. If you're from outside the district, feel free to log on to Eventbrite, Brite, and just type in the search engine 2017 Lodge in the Woods. And you'll see a brief rundown on what happens and how to buy tickets online. We do have that back up online, Jason. We fixed that.
Good job.
Not sure what happened. But
good steak dinner, and you get to hang out in the woods.
Good steak dinner. It's a scout camp. It's rain or shine. There's a giant pavilion, so if it's raining or the weather's in any way contrary, we'll be under roof. And we've got golf carts to carry you back and forth to the parking lot. So
and we have bug spray.
We have no, but we will. I don't think we have anybody in charge of bug spray. So, Jason, you are slated to drive.
As long as I get to drive the cart, I'm happy.
I have you as golf carts. Yes.
Yes, I'll bring the bug spray.
All right.
Have we decided to do a show from up there?
Listen to the last episode,
I would
Larry.
welcome that.
We talked about that the last episode.
Yes. Yeah. Did we vote on it yet?
We said, shouldn't we cover that? And then we all said yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we should definitely cover it. The logistics
if
up
Pete
there.
can cover it without being there, that would be.
Well, yeah, I don't have to be there.
It is tiled too, so.
But I'm just saying, unless we take somebody off into the woods mysteriously, I don't know where we're going to have a quiet place.
There's lots. There's lots of places around there to do.
Yeah, we don't need to do an episode from there. We just need to cover.
And we can have a picnic table on the other side of the pavilion.
Buddy, let's go walk to the archery range. Let's go.
Nice. Before we get out of here, we should mention that it is summer break, so we are going on summer break, but our podcast is not. So when you listen to the next episode format might be a little bit different because we.
Can you like splice in some Dr. Dre like next episode?
Yeah,
a little riff there.
Why?
Well, because you just said the next episode it would be funny.
That would be funny.
Like, I can't make that noise of the song, but yeah.
But we are pre-recording 2 episodes here at once, and obviously our what's coming up and what we've done won't be any different. Don't sigh at me.
So yeah.
Although you at home will never know the difference.
Episode 34, when it comes on, you feel free to hit skip because we're just winging it. That's it. I have nothing going on. Larry, you gonna take us out of here? Anything else?
Absolutely.
Jason, did I miss anything?
No.
Oh, Larry, take us out of here.
It's time to go. So, good grief. Anyway, thanks again to Monarch Studios for allowing us to record in this phenomenal establishment. We really do appreciate it. To our producer, Jason Lewis, for always making magic for the show. If you really could see a taping of our show, a visual, you would not.
You'd be horrified.
New game. Guess the background noise.
Unbelievable. To our news director, Jack.
What's his name?
Jungle Jack Hanna.
Yeah.
Just Jack.
Jack Harley.
Just Jack.
Just Jack. Oh, my God. Anyway, also, too, special thanks to our PR specialist, assistant PR specialist. A lot of BSing. And also, too, to our audience response analyst who shows up occasionally, lukewarm. And we do have a behavior consultant here. Wyatt behooves you. She's our behavior consultant, and occasionally we do need.
Wait, a lady named Wyatt?
Have not heard that before. That's funny.
Oh, good grief! And we do have a creative director, and occasionally he gets upset because we don't give him a lot of credit. But our creative director drew a blank, and always on the ball, always there. And we do have a dope slap administrator, a dope slap administrator. That hurts.
Drop the mic.
What's a dope slap?
Dope means something different to me.
Dope slap.
Larry's too hip for his own good.
Insert bong sound.
Is that a hashtag? Is that an Instagram?
All right, a new law firm tonight, Rush and Delay. And we did get a call from another law firm out of New York.
Pray for us.
That actually, they'd like us to mention them, and that's Lowball and Lynch. I mean, you can't get any lower than that.
Jason, fade us out.
This is Larry Maris.
Jason knows.
Stone him. It's Jack.
My name is Mud. Bye.
That was good.
Bye, everybody.